Alright, so this is what I do to find a place to fish. This is when I'm not going to get in my boat. I'm just going to go find a local fishing spot, maybe that I've never been to, a lake or a pond that I never knew existed, that may be down the road from my workplace or from my house or wherever I'm at if I'm visiting from out of town. Um, but this is how I, locate lakes, how I decide if I need to ask permission to fish there, if I can just pull over on the side of the road or in the back of a neighborhood, or if I have to sneak in. And sneaking in is not always like you're doing something illegal, it's just the only way to the lake. Sometimes you have to park in a parking lot and walk through the woods to a public lake that there's really no access to, especially if it's tucked away in the back of a neighborhood or surrounded by houses and there's one side that's open. But right now I'm looking in Duluth, Georgia. Um, so let's say I've got a business, right in downtown Duluth here, and I want to find a lake to fish during my lunch break or something. So just turn the map on regular, not satellite. You can do this from a computer or a phone. I'm doing it from an iPad just to show you how you can do it when you're out on the go. An iPad's a much bigger screen from an iPhone or an Android phone, but it's much easier to do on a computer. Um, but what you do is you just look around for blue. And when you find something blue, that's a lake or a pond, and zoom in so that you can find it when you go to satellite. And then just swap over to satellite, and there it is. And you can see where it's at. That's clearly private property. I'm not going to be able to get there. You might could park in this parking lot here off Church Street and walk over, but I don't know if that's a barn. You have to zoom out and play around. It looks like it's in the back of a neighborhood. That might be accessible. It looks pretty dirty, but I don't know when this picture was taken. But that just gives you a idea of what that lake looks like on satellite imagery. So I want to go back to my map. I want to look for another lake. So just scroll out until I find another lake. Well, here's a big lake, Norman Lake. It's probably a park of some sort. Go back to satellite. I don't know if it's a park or just tucked away behind a neighborhood. I don't really see a way to access it. Unless, well, I don't know what, that may be a big business right there. You might could park there and walk over, but it looks like there's houses. Really, I don't know if there's a good way to get in. So go back to my map. Here's another little lake. I don't really see a road nearby, but it's clearly on a farm. Can't fish there. You have to stop and ask permission. But this is what I do near my workplace or my house, especially when I want to find a lake or a pond that I never knew existed. It might be in the back of the woods or at a park. This is a good way to find parks that have lakes, that you just pull up to and start fishing at. Here's one that looks like might could park somewhere on this Bristol Lane. I don't know if it's legal or not, but you might could. That'd be a bad example. Here's another lake next door. I don't see any access there. But you can also use this, to find, here's another one, Cardinal Lake. You can see, a lot of times you can pull over at a pool clubhouse, the back of a neighborhood, and fish. I mean, the worst that's going to happen is someone run you off. There's clearly a parking lot right here for this pool. Looks like they have a little beach. It might be a gated entry, I don't know. But that would give you access to at least walk around part of that lake and fish. Here's some more over here. But this is the way I find little ponds that I never knew existed, or just places to fish nearby. Now this one looks more accessible. I mean, you'd have to go through the woods, but I guarantee you, if you drive by right here, there's a place where someone's pulled off and parked. And you're not always sneaking in. Sometimes that's just the way in. But it doesn't hurt to ask if you see a house out front. 9 times out of 10, I've found that people, if you stop and ask, can I fish here for about an hour? And I promise to throw everything back. You're more than likely, they're just going to say, yeah, sure, enjoy yourself. But this is how I do this. I literally just go to the map, look for blue, and blue is where you want to, that's the lake, that's the pond, the rivers show up, some of the creeks show up. Sometimes you have to zoom in further. Here's one clearly in the middle of a neighborhood. But look, if it's not a gated entry, there's a parking lot you can pull over at. I guarantee you no one's at that pool today. It's in the middle of January, and there's you a fishing spot.